me now is one of them, Donald Trump Jr. Don, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Jake. Good to be with you.
So I don't know if you were hearing earlier, but Robbie Mook, the campaign manager for Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, I asked him about the DNC leak, and he suggested that experts are saying that Russians were behind both the leak, the hacking of the DNC emails and their release. He seemed to be suggesting that this is part of a plot to help Donald Trump and hurt Hillary Clinton. Your response?
Well, it just goes to show you their exact moral compass. I mean, they'll say anything to be able to win this. I mean, this is time and time again, lie after lie. You notice he won't say, well, I say this. We hear experts. You know, his house cat at home once said that this is what's happening with the Russians. It's disgusting. It's so phony. I watched him bumble through the interview. I was able to hear it on audio a little bit. I mean, I can't think of bigger lies, but that exactly goes to show you what the DNC and what the Clinton camp will do. They will lie and do anything to win. You hear it with the DNC, where they're leaking emails about Bernie Sanders and his Jewish heritage to be able to try to destroy him in the South. It's a rigged system. It's disgusting, and the people should be fed up, because when I heard it, I certainly was. There's nothing wrong with a fair fight, Jake. I don't mind a fair fight, but these lies and the perpetuating of that kind of nonsense to try to, gain some political capital is just outrageous, and he should be ashamed of himself. If a Republican did that, they'd be calling for people to bring out the electric chair.
I want to turn to your father's speech on Thursday night. President Obama weighed in saying, quote, this idea that America is somehow on the verge of collapse, this vision of violence and chaos everywhere doesn't really jibe with the experience of most people, unquote. What's your response?
Apparently he hasn't turned on the news in the last few months, Jake. If you look at what's going on in this country, it's a disaster. Anything that's left of our economy is only there because it's artificially inflated with ridiculously low interest rates that don't work in the long run. It's a lie. You can't turn on the TV these days without seeing cops getting shot. You have people enabling these things. We're creating a system where we're encouraging criminals, essentially, to go out and pretend that they're vigilantes. I mean, it is ridiculous. We have to defend our cops. We have to take care of our people. We have to get some law and order back into this world because it doesn't exist. And if President Obama wants to go on the air and say, look at the America we live in, it's so phenomenal today versus 8 years ago, I don't think I know an American that believes that to be the case. We're in a mess, and we have to finally acknowledge that, Jake. Sound bites are wonderful, but we actually have to do something in terms of action for a change.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here because I want to push back a little bit. The crime rate is down overall nationwide and has been trending down. Unemployment is much, much lower than when President Obama took office. Now, I'm not defending.
Hey, wait. Jake, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the murder rate for cops skyrocketing. Let's talk about the real unemployment rate, because the way we actually measure unemployment is after X number of months, if someone can't find a job, congratulations, they're miraculously off. When you talk about underemployment, which Obamacare has destroyed, people that are working 30 hours a week instead of 40 hours a week so that companies don't have to put them on Obamacare. When you talk about people that just aren't even registered because they don't count them anymore. They've been out of work for so long. They'd love to work if they could, but they can't. That doesn't count. These are artificial numbers, Jake. These are numbers that are massaged to make the existing economy look good, to make this administration look good, when in fact, it's a total disaster. So let's talk about real numbers. When we talk about the numbers as they see it, it's fake accounting, Jake. It doesn't really work. And that's not what the actual state of this country is.
So when if your father becomes president, he won't use the Bureau of Labor Statistics unemployment rate. He'll use the overall rate, which includes people who have left the workforce and people who work part-time. He's going to switch, because every president has used the typical number. He's going to use this number that includes everything.
Listen, I don't know what he's going to do. I'm not a policy wonk in terms of what we're going to decide to do. But I think we have to acknowledge that there's those numbers, and then there's the real situation. And they're very different, okay? We all understand that. You're acknowledging that, at least. Let's talk about it. I think those are the people that my father's speaking. Those are the people that have been forgotten in this country. And that's exactly what it is. Unemployment's great because these people just can't even find jobs, so they don't even count anymore. Those are the people we're talking to. Those are the people we want to put to work, Jake. Those are the people that can't feed their families, and we're telling them that they're miraculously employed because some bureaucrat in D.C. says, well, these are the way the numbers read. It doesn't work that way in the real world.
Your father raised the prospect of bringing on Roger Ailes, the former chairman and CEO of Fox News, And the idea being, Mr. Trump said something along the lines of people are talking about maybe he would run my campaign. Is that actually in play? Roger Ailes coming on board and running the campaign?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I know they're friends and they have a long-term relationship, but I'm very happy with the work that Paul Manafort's doing. I think our team is really coming into place and swing. It's been exciting to be a fly on the wall watching a lot of this stuff go down because, again, we're trying to give a voice to the people who've been forgotten, and I think the campaign's doing a wonderful job of that.
Lastly, Don, your speech obviously very well received, and there are Republicans out there wondering if you might run for office someday yourself. It's even been raised a possible run against New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. Are these ideas that you're contemplating?
Well, listen, I had a good time up there. It was exciting to be able to have a platform like that to speak my voice because, as you can hear from this interview, I'm really frustrated with what's going on in this country, Jake. And if I can do that one day, I'd love to be able to do it for the people of this country. If that's how I can pay back and give something back, I'd love to do it. But right now, I'm more concerned about getting my father in there because I know that he will do a wonderful job with that. I know he's going to fight for the people. It's not going to be about soundbite politics. It's not going to be about divisive politics and emails, accusing people of working with the Russian government. Not going to be about going against our opponents, calling it Jewish heritage and trying to use that against them in the South. If Republicans did that, it'd be disgusting, and that's what you're going to see in a Clinton administration. This sort of divisiveness has to stop. They should be ashamed of themselves. And again, if we did that, if the RNC did that, if my father's campaign did that, they'd be calling for people to get the electric chair. So I want my father to win. I know he can fix this country. I know he can take care of the people that need to be taken care of for a change. And I think we're going to do a great job. So that's my 100% focus until November.
But after that, you might actually consider running for office yourself, including mayor of New York.
Well, I never like to rule anything out, Jake. I like to keep optionality. As my father's always said, we always like to keep our options open. So if I can do that as a service to our country, I'd love to do it.